Well, this is going to be a fun one today. I've been sitting here on Monday. Some of the plans I had kind of went away, and in the back of my mind, I've had a kind of a list of people that I wanted to get a hold of that I haven't seen in a while. And this guy right here, I know you're going to love to hear from. Mitch Gibbs raced from 1980 to 2021. He actually won a race in his final season at Afton. That was win number 189. Happened on June 25th of 2021. He estimates somewhere around 189 wins total, somewhere around 7 to 8 championships. And when you win as much as a guy like Mitch Gibbs did, well, you imagine how you could kind of lose track a little bit. So let's head on down to North Norwich. That's where Mitch's shop is, and also where he just moved to recently. Mitch Gibbs with us now. The picture you're looking at, by the way, was from 2007. How we doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Back okay? Because if I remember correctly, the last few years you were dealing with some back issues.
Yeah, I've been dealing with back issues for quite some time, and it just got really bad in 21 towards the end of the season. It got to the point where I couldn't race anymore. I couldn't get out of the car afterwards, after the feature. Sometimes it'd take me 20 minutes to get out of the car. So I had to do something about it, and, they recommended surgery, and I put that off. I had to have a hernia fixed first before the back surgery, and in that time I started feeling better because I wasn't lifting and stuff and, working hard. And so I put off the surgery, and, so far I'm okay,
Good. Glad to hear that. I guess I'm surprised because I hear about it a lot, especially from guys in the time period that you raced. I guess I'm surprised everybody doesn't have a bad back from racing back then.
Yeah, it's tough on your back, especially when you bottom out and the frame bottoms out. Just you jump a wheel or the cushion or something, sometimes the frame goes down and hits the track, and you'll see stars sometimes. It really knocks you out sometimes.
Seriously, and then you got to...
Yeah, if you jump a wheel and go up in the air and come down and the frame hits, because there's hardly any cushion underneath the seat. It's maybe an inch, of high-density foam or something like that, and it's just, it's rough.
Yeah, because I know a lot of the sprint car guys use those crash pads, and just a little bit, like you said, can make a big difference, can it?
Yes, they can. Yeah, it shortens you up when you hit bottom like that. It really takes its toll on you.
I've heard a couple people actually say that they go to the doctor years later and they're a half an inch shorter than they were. Because you just compress everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It sure does.
So what do you do with your time today?
Just work, work at the shop here and sell a few cars and do some repair work. And summers we spend up to Sylvan Beach, up in campground up there. And
you're still over in Sylvan Beach in the summers?
Yeah, we're permanent and a campground up there, and so we spend all weekend instead of racing. We go up there all weekend and go out on the lake and have a good time.
Well, I'm going to come up and see you then some Sunday then, and we'll have some fun. And I'll leave the camera at home, and we'll just tell some stories, some of the stuff we can't tell over the airwaves here, because there's a bunch of those. By the way, I got a whole bunch of pictures of Mitch. We'll be putting those up as we talk to him about various things. So let's go all the way back. I don't know if I ever did this interview with you or not, and I certainly haven't talked to you on the YouTube channel yet. When did it all start in 1980, and how did you get going as a teenager back in 1980, right?
Yeah, I think it was about 18 or maybe 18, 17, I'm not sure. But my dad raced, and he was getting ready to give it up, and so I decided to jump in the car and give it a whirl. And actually, no, that's not my first time. First time is a friend of mine and I, we put they called it a street stock back then, and they were street stock.
Yeah.
And we went to Brookfield and raced, and we were going to take turns driving it. We got over there, and neither one of us wanted to drive it.
Really?
So I got stuck driving it, and we just raced once, I think, and that was enough. And then the following year, I got into a late model that my dad used to race. And that's how we got started, yeah.
Okay. So had you not raced that one night, might you have ever not raced, or was that something you did always want? Because I'm surprised that you said you didn't want to do it.
Yeah, we were both kind of intimidated, and we
that was what it
wanted
was.
to race this car, you know what I mean, that we put together, put a cage in and all that stuff, went over there, and but I don't know if I would have if I never tried that, I mean, I was always involved in racing because my dad raced, but...
Right, didn't mean you're going to drive, though.
What's that?
That didn't mean you were going to drive just because your dad did it, though.
No, but I just ended up, I got into it, and once I got into it, then we went wide open, you know what I mean, with it. It takes a lot.
Did that first time at least make the second time easier, do you think?
What's that?
Did that first time when you were not really sure if you wanted to do it or not, did that make the second time easier at least? You kind of knew what to expect a little?
Yeah, I suppose it did. Yeah. I suppose it did.
When
I
did...
really wasn't very good at it, when I first
Really?
started. Yeah, I just overdrive, you know what I mean? Driving
Standard thing.
way too deep, and you learn that over time.
Mm-hmm.
Got to race the track,
When did it start to click?
Actually, like in 1980, I think it was right off the bat. We were running Fonda in the 320 division out there, and we bought a car off Jack Johnson. It was a big block car, and we put a small block in it and ran. And I think we won eight or nine features that year.
The first year?
Yeah.
Wow.
First year in a modified type car. Yeah.
Surprised?
Yeah, I was shocked. Yeah. And we won the track championship too.
Seriously, in your very first year?
First year in a modified, yeah.
Wow, that doesn't happen
Modified
anymore,
car,
does it?
Yeah.
So now you're hooked, right?
Yeah. Now that I can't do it anymore, but
No, I'm talking about like the off season of 1980. Let's say.
Oh yeah, I was hooked at that point. Yes.
How did you get to be, more recognized and get to the point where no, you're not just driving your own stuff, but you're driving somebody else's car? Because you drove a lot of different cars.
A lot of different cars. Yeah, that didn't start till I don't know, in the 90s maybe.
Oh, that's when it all really started to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's when it started. Getting phone calls and stuff. Hey, we're having some problems with our car. Why don't you come down and drive it? At certain tracks in Pennsylvania or whatever. And that's when it all started. And I think there was quite a few years, I raced 120 events.
Yeah, because back then you could.
Yeah.
Very
you could
easily.
Race,
Yeah,
you could race 5 nights a week easy.
Yeah, you could make a living at it, couldn't you?
Yeah, I did. I pretty much did.
Okay, so this is before all the used cars and everything else. You actually were a professional race car driver in what, when did that happen? You think late 80s, early 90s?
It started in the early 90s, and, it went on for quite a while. And,
I would imagine that would be a little bit different because now, unlike just showing up with your own car and you get what you get, no big deal, right? Driving for somebody else has to be a different experience the first time.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, it's hard. It's difficult nowadays. It really is. With the cost of everything, it's hard to do it and do it right and make money doing it.
I've always said I kind of thought it all peaked around 97, 98, 99. Is that about when you think it really hit that pinnacle?
I think so. Yep. That's when the outlaw circuit was big. There was big crowds.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't even find a seat sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you showed up Fulton. You showed up to Victoria 200 at Fulton at 6 o'clock. You were out of luck.
Right. People were standing up and sitting on the bank up there in the grass because there wasn't no seats left.
Mm-hmm.
And there was over 100 cars there. 130 cars, I think. Quite a few of them years. Trying to qualify for that. And I just wish that I had run that race sooner on. I was racing dirt. And I think one of the 200s, the Rolling Wheels 200, was always the same day as that.
Yes, it was. Yep.
Yeah, so I always end up running that, and I missed like the first, 7 or 8 years of that race, and I wish I hadn't. I might have been able to get a win there in the 200.
Okay.
Never know.
It's true. Only about a minute left here. Favorite racetrack ever? Is there one?
Probably Fulton. I like Fulton. I always have liked Fulton. Yeah, probably Fulton.
Of course, Afton statistically would be where your most wins are. You had 70 there.
Yep, 70 feature wins, yeah. And we've had a lot of good years there, but as far as my favorite racetrack, I think Fulton. I think a lot of guys have that, feeling that that's probably their favorite racetrack.
Yeah, banked and wide, lots of room, escape areas if you needed it in the infield,
Nice inside groove, outside groove way out, so you got side-by-side racing, going into the corner, and it's just, it was good racing. Good.
4 and 5 wide was no big deal in the Victoria
right.
200. So
you don't see that.
No, you don't. Well, you still see it at that race every year, which is nice. Yep. But, man, the 10 minutes just flew by, Mitch. I can't believe that it went that fast. So we'll get together soon. Mitch and I have already talked about some other things we can do because I've got a ton of photos from him from back in the Doug's Dirt Diary days. Mitch, you take care of yourself, and I'll call you again soon. Thank you.
Okay, man. Thank you.
Hit that blue E, guys. Subscribe, turn on notifications, all that stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of this stuff the off season, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything.